Chapter 16. Thousands of years later. A long column of dust arose slowly from the Turkish countryside as Sasha's Land Cruiser ate up the skinny road.
Dr. Dirtz, if we could just slow down a bit, please.
Her British assistant, Danny, shouted nervously between jolts from the rough ride. She refused to compete with the tire noise and foreign trap music blasting from the speakers. Instead, she shot him a crooked smile, the harsh light glinting off her sunglasses, and turned the volume to tooth-shattering. Danny grimaced as they hit yet another pothole and wondered what he had gotten himself into. About an hour later, they skidded unceremoniously into the dirt lot of the dig site. Hopping out, Sasha rattled off a list of supplies. As Danny collected most of it from the back seat, he fantasized about working in a slightly different climb, say, Bali maybe? Slamming the door with his knee, he waddled after her, cursing his ancestors under his breath for short, clumsy limbs. They entered the first tent, which housed a small lab, work areas, and various pieces of equipment.
So, what did Superman tell us today?
Sasha asked the room, hands on hips, looking suspiciously casual. One of the work-study volunteers tore a printout from the dot matrix printer, indicating their dwindling budget. Sasha glanced at the raw data, moving to the monitors.
Interesting. Pull up the images,
she said, sitting down on a milk crate, her brow furrowed.
This is why I texted you on the secure line. You see this?
Their resident geophysics tech said in his thick southern accent. Bending forward, he zoomed the screen with a few touches, then pointed to the critical areas glowing in oranges and yellows of the GIS map's sedate background of blues and grays. Superman, their pet name for the ground-penetrating radar unit, had apparently found a lot. With a shock, Sasha finally realized what she was looking at.
Another temple. Right underneath us?
She asked, stunned by the new data.
Well, yeah, the man said excitedly. But given the artificial height of the mound and what we've already uncovered...
More than one, Sasha affirmed, cupping her chin with a dusty hand.
There's something else even weirder, but...
Becky started, trying to get a read on Sasha's mood before proceeding. Becky, Sasha's most dependable, faceless intern. She hoped for the one rare scrap of praise Dr. Dirtz dispensed like a house-odd slot machine. The entire company had heard the phrase, "good job," just once, when someone had saved Sasha from a viper bite. She shot Becky her "get on with it already" look, perfected over the years as her high IQ marinated in impatience and disappointments. The other trusted crew members were smart enough to keep their mouths shut and quickly find somewhere else to be.
I haven't told anyone, except Danny, of course, to deter,
Becky referred to the recent spate of stolen artifacts, a hanging offense in Sasha's eyes. She had almost been arrested for pistol-whipping a grave robber over a ceremonial drinking vessel in a tug-of-war. Not a proud moment, but Sasha had started meditating soon after, so there was that. Becky led Sasha and Danny into the adjoining main tent, which sheltered the partially excavated temple. The three of them passed the plain-looking outer stone circle, pushing through the flaps of the smaller, central tent that housed the inner temple. This was the apex of the most recent, exciting discoveries, thus the extra layer of security.
It's here, under the tarp,
she said.
More fabric scraps like yesterday?
Please tell me you're joking, Sasha declared, crossing her arms so she wouldn't strangle Becky.
Writing. It's some kind of writing, I think,
Becky said, squatting and peeling back the noisy blue plastic. Can't be. And I want you to Google why that is as you clear out your cubbyhole, bag your belongings, and... Sasha said, starting in on Becky, but uncharacteristically pulled up short, staring. Under the tarp was a simple, preserved leather envelope. Just one enormous hide, the sides folded over. Becky had opened it, revealing a roughly 4-foot by 4-foot tapestry. Its surface was covered with what looked like proto-cuneiform symbols. The natural inks and dyes were still intensely saturated shades of reds, greens, and blues. Even more spectacular, it also contained scripts similar to early Egyptian, Chinese, and Mesoamerican languages. If Sasha's cursory analysis was correct, this artifact predated the Rosetta Stone by more than 10,000 years, and that also made it 10,000 times more groundbreaking. Danny, new girl.
Becky?
Becky interjected, shoulders slumped as she tugged on her collar anxiously.
Yeah, you two are with me. Everybody else is on security, water, and sandwich duty.
Later that day, as the sun dipped behind the dig complex, Sasha realized she could toss her old dot matrix in the nearest dumpster. Things were finally looking up.
Tea?
Danny offered, his sweaty arm pushing it towards a dehydrated Sasha.
No, Danny. This is in fact a map, she said, taking it without even looking at him, her humor wasted. And if I get the gist of all these scripts, it's a warning sign as well. This might be why the nomads turned farmers buried this temple atop the one underneath. Under at least 2 more, if my math is right. So we keep uncovering this one, then the next, but how will we support the... Danny started. She shot up, realizing where the map led. I don't think so, my portly friend, Sasha said, shouting past him for the new girl. Dr. Dirtz, if we are to continue working together, I don't think it's appropriate to be commenting on my size. Then quit, she said flatly, landing a dusty, honest slap on his shoulder. Or don't. But what this find means, Sasha said, her hands waving over the map, my little cherub, is that I will never have to beg for another grant ever again. I know, buddy. But just answer me one question. How would you like to work on the beach? She said with a double-handed flourish. A smile replaced his scowl as Danny imagined sand, cold beers, bikini-clad tourists, and breezy days under a cabana. Very much yes. You know, I once went to... Yeah, fucking riveting. I trust a new girl here because she protected this relic when she could have sold it. I trust you because I checked your background with an old NSA booty call. And you're cleaner than toilet paper on a juice fast, my friend. Probably incapable of subterfuge, and for me right now, that is sexy as hell. Danny blushed. Was she... So, grab Miss Perky Tits over here. Becky, my name is Becky. Lock this map in one of our secure cases and pack our shit. We leave at dawn. But what about this dig? Your career. My career. Danny exclaimed, his voice raising to a mousy squeak. She strode up to him, stopping inches away. Danny, sweet Danny, this was never about grinding through the next 20 years only to reach more primitive structures under this one. It was about finding an anomaly, something so unusual that I couldn't get bored, you dig? Another blank look, another wasted joke. Look at this body, she said, her hands up and down a very fit frame, even hidden under field khakis. He looked. Danny, inappropriate in the workplace, I never. But you just... Smiling, she continued. Do you think I will willingly enter the sag zone, doing typical work on typical digs, while all this remarkable firmness deteriorates like so many artifacts in an oxidizing human environment? No, Danny, I would not. I was saving myself. Preparing myself for that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, that old school, down on one knee, archaeological proposal, and this is it. He looked at the map, then back to her, remembering all the years he spent in school. So, pack our shit, as it were, he said, resigned to sticking it out. Danny, she said, hands on his broad shoulders, I could kiss you. Inappropriate, he yelled, his protest drowned out by Becky, noisily dragging a metal case over the ancient ground.